I would say whatever those sort of traditional gender roles are, because if your expectation is for a man to pay for first dates, to be a provider, be a protector, do these sort of gestures, open the car door, observe the sidewalk rule, whatever it is, pay for dates. What are the corresponding more traditional gender roles in terms of cultural or societal expectations of women of yesteryear? So we're holding men to this 1950s bachelor standard, but women are modern women. Y'all are sex workers. Not all, by the way, I want to be fair. Most women are not sex workers, but a lot of women are promiscuous. A lot of women have high body counts. A lot of women are dating multiple men at the same time. A lot of women are not obedient. A lot of women are not submissive. So if you want us as men to be leaders, you need to be a follower. If you want me to lead, you need to be prepared to follow. What does that mean? Being obedient, being submissive. Women don't want to do those things anymore. Women don't want to follow. Yeah. You want the benefits of male leadership, but I have to follow his lead. I can't lead somebody who won't follow.
Okay, so I will say I will trade in a heartbeat a man opening the door and paying on the date if the bargain is going to be being submissive and obedient, because I couldn't do that even if I lived in the 50s. It's not even in my DNA. But I also just want to push back in the sense that when I talk about men doing these things like opening the door and paying on a first date, I see this as dating rituals of courtship.
Okay, courtship.
And, yes, but not designed. This is just my opinion. I'm not saying this is a strategic, like you want to hook the woman, so you should do these things. I'm saying this is a way to show a woman that you respect her, that you admire her, that you're interested in her. To me, it is a ritual of mating that is somewhat wired into our innate manner of courtship. And I don't think that a man doing those things puts such a heavy burden on men. I
disagree, but okay.
Okay. I mean, to
like
take
paying for dates, I think that does put a burden.
Well, paying for you're right. It puts a burden of paying for a dinner.
Not a singular date necessarily, although it could.
Right. Paying for every date.
But if, as people do, they can be in the course of a year. Some people might go on 10, 20 dates. I mean, it depends really. But that can absolutely place like a financial burden on men that doesn't exist in the other direction. But also, I mean, even if we're just talking about one singular date, the expectation, some people do this sort of hand waving away in terms of this burden. But if I'm talking to a guy who makes $20 an hour, or maybe he's a young guy, early 20s, he makes $20 an hour, women have this expectation that men pay for the first date. Maybe, let's say you go out to a date and it costs $100 total.
Yeah.
And I'll be fair, he's only factoring in her portion of the meal. Let's just split it down the middle. He's paying $50 for him, $50 for her. That's 2.5 hours of work for him. A man who's making $20 an hour, and that's before tax, after tax, whatever. He's making $20 an hour. Let's say he's working like a physically demanding job. Women are telling men, in order for you to get my time, for you to go on a date with me, which, by the way, I think that's an equal value exchange going on a date. You have to work 2.5 hours. You have to work 2.5 hours. So when I sit here and I say, I expect my girlfriend to bow. I expect my girlfriend to be submissive. I expect my girlfriend to do X, Y, to cook and clean and all these things. Women have, I think, way higher expectations. Way higher expectations. You want a guy who makes $20 an hour to pay for your first date? Mind you, you're probably going on 3 or 4 dates with other men. So hold on, let me do one thing at a time. One thing at a time. I just want a girl to bow. That's it. I want to bow. We'll play the bow. I don't know if you've seen the bow video. I don't know if you watched the show. Yeah. That takes 3 seconds. It takes no effort. Y'all want men to. Maybe he's like I don't know, he's digging ditches or something. He's a physical laborer.
Totally.
That's 2.5 hours of work to take you out on a date. I mean, my other points here would be why women don't deserve it. Again, rampant promiscuity. You're not adhering to really any traditional gender roles. You're dating multiple men at the same time. Why am I gonna... And look, there's women out there who are properly single, although perhaps they're few and far between. Why am I going to treat her to a date when she's like, for example, one of your notes here, you said you went on 4 dates in a day.
I did.
Wow.
I'm sorry,
But
why am I going to pay on a? I'm getting your sloppy thirds. I'm getting your sloppy
There
seconds.
was nothing sloppy happening.
Well, in any case, why? Like my perspective is, me personally, I only want to deal with women who are properly single and who are dating intentionally. A woman who's going on 4 dates in a day. I'm not saying you're sleeping with all the guys.
I didn't sleep with any of them.
That's totally fine. But like, that's a level of disrespect. I feel. I don't know. To me, that would be disrespectful.
To be one of the guys who was among the four.
Yeah, that does seem kind of like
Maybe it was for
Really?
one day.
You
Yeah.
know what? Honestly, okay, first of all, this was not a regular thing. But I got to the point where doing online dating, I was in my 30s. I got so worn out from spending weeks messaging back and forth with guys who seemed really great, I got excited about, and then I went out with them and met them, and there was no connection, or they weren't nice, or and by the way, let me say, I did not expect people to constantly wine and dine me at this extravagant level, especially if they're not making tons of money. Like, I don't think that's fair.
Well, I mean, you go to Chili's, that's $100.
Well, that 4 date, I never went to Chili's. I got very efficient about my dating, which is what I decided. And I only went on 4 dates one time. I mean, that's an ambitious strategy. But the idea was, I don't want to waste a lot of time back and forth with you anymore. I want to meet you in person as quickly as possible. So I started doing like 15 minutes, Starbucks. I'll meet you for a coffee. And then if there's a vibe, then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Well, if there's a vibe, but I'm going to have to cut it short because I have to get to my date number 3. But
I did not make anyone feel rushed or pressured.
that's fine. In any case, me personally, if a girl was open about that, and of course some women might lie or choose to omit sharing the fact that they're going on multiple dates. If I was on a date with a girl and she tells me, hey, by the way, you're great, just letting you know, I have 2 other dates planned after this.
I probably did tell them.
I'd feel a type of way.
I get that.
I'd be like, well, you know what? They sound like great guys. You have a good night with them.
I think that's totally fair.
That's it. But so I guess my perspective here, and even if you were doing what you were doing,
Yeah.
you could have done it, one Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But even that, I would take quarrel. Even that, a woman who had 3 other dates lined up in that week, I'm thinking to myself, she's kind of playing the field. I don't want to deal with this kind of.
But why am I playing the field? Why am I not just trying to meet someone that I actually connect with? And I mean, I wasn't dating multiple people a day. It's not even realistic. I worked a full-time job. But why, if I'm going out on 3 dates in a week, am I playing the field and am I like seeming promiscuous or something? Because I'm not promiscuous.
You might not be, but that would probably be the impression.
That'd be what you think. Okay.
But I mean, like,
and then
when
you
I
don't
think
want to
of-
pay for me or open the door for me if I'm doing that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't. Now, I think men will do it anyways because they know that that's effective, and that's what. Even if the chick's a total strumpet, it's still like if you're
It's
just
the
trying to
thing.
maximize. Yeah, and I mean, like, some guys are okay, I guess, dating a strumpet, but I mean, I just don't think it's a fair shake for men to do the chivalrous thing if the women aren't what. Women are just not holding up their end of the deal on this chivalry thing.
I hear what you're saying, and I will tell you, my husband sometimes jokes, and he's probably watching right now, and he's going to be like, I'm not really joking. But that there is, I'm going to admit, being 52 years old, I grew up at a time where things were a lot more traditional, and there were a lot of things I expected from men that I think some of them had a little bit of a double standard. Like, I did want, in my first marriage, things were very traditional, but I didn't want to have less of a say or less power or agency in the marriage, even though I did want to be provided for. And I think in that relationship, I did look at my husband as more of a leader. Now, what I'm saying is that I do think there's still something to mating rituals that's very biologically driven. I don't think things should be financially unfair. I don't even know that my daughters at 22 and 24 expect men to pay for them. I think things are a lot more. I mean, I don't know if you guys even expect to be paid for on a date. If I went out on a first date and I went out on one date, this was not not 4 in a day. This guy was the only date of the week, and we went to Gators, which is like a Florida bar food place, and he made me split like a $20 chicken tender thing, and it seemed a little cheap and it was a turnoff to me. But if I were dating somebody today, I make plenty of my own money. I feel empowered by that. I don't think I would expect the same thing. However, on a first date or two, I would want a man to show me that he has manners. I would want him to open the door for me, and I would rather him do that and then me say, oh no, don't worry about it. But I also think I probably have a lot of old school ideas because I'm old. You know, I don't know if you younger people even care about that stuff.
But I mean, you say you have these old school ideas, but what are the old school traditions you adhere to?
Cooking dinner, and I don't adhere to them. I'm going to admit to you, I'm admitting that I don't think chivalry is hypocritical, but some of what I would say I really want in a man is hypocritical.
How so?
My husband cooks. My husband goes to the grocery store. I don't know that he's as thrilled with that as he acts like he is. I don't know. We'd have to ask him.
Well, I mean, he married you. So
yes.
He's accepted it.
Yes, he's accepted it, I guess. And
Well,
we're
some
a
husbands
decade.
like to cook, though. I mean,
Yeah,
you know.
I don't think he minds
Maybe
it
he's better,
totally.
too.
We need
Yeah,
an
that's
husband to
what I'm
send a super
I know.
Well, they do say men are better cooks than
It is.
women,
I think
even
it is
though,
true.
like,
But I'm a good cook. I'm Italian. I'm actually a great cook.
Hey.
I mean, I am, but I feel like right now I have like 5 jobs. I feel like I'm in a working season. I'm not gonna cook and go to the grocery store.
well, and Brian, I guess the difference I want to make is
Yeah.
like chivalry, like opening the car door and even like paying like on the first date or something because it's so awkward. I feel like that could be, that's not even that chivalrous. That's almost just expected. Chivalry to me would be like giving somebody a ride to the airport if you just met them. Like actually going out of, if they had a flat tire, like you don't know the person
that's
and
nice.
you're going out of the way. Like that's chivalry. I feel like opening a car door, like buying the first, because like.
But you also live in Dallas, where that's very
That is, manners
ubiquitous.
are-
Like in New
yeah.
York, when I grew up, men you hooked up at a bar, and eventually you were dating. After 6 months of that, there was no dates, there was no car door, nothing. I think you're got the Southern gentleman thing a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
you're
I am.
Texas.
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I just think it's
Yeah.
kind of naturally to open up a door for a woman. Like, I would
Yes.
think it was rude. Like, if a woman is like coming through the door to not open it, that's
Yes.
actually, I would almost consider that rude.
I mean,
but-
I even see men doing that for women they don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
That
saying.
happens
Like,
to me all
like
the
any
time.
woman, I
Yeah.
have to open the door.
And is
for.
that a huge burden? Is that unfair to
Well,
want the
there's
door
these-
opened?
Well, I think there's these smaller sort of gestures, but if we start looking at perhaps the financial component, the protection component, you look at men paying for dates, women still want men to be providers, protectors, etc. And then there's sort of other expectations too there. I'm trying to think of a good example here. Well, I'd say that it's sort of the general, men are still overwhelmingly initiators in relationships.
Yep.
This is within the, maybe not the purview of chivalry, but it is within the purview of traditional gender roles where the burden of initiative falls on the man. And as women, you might not really think about that, but overwhelmingly, I think something like 99% of first dates, the guy's asking for the first date. And then every other first step that's involved in that entire process almost always exclusively falls on the man. What does that entail? It entails him approaching you, him, carrying the conversation, asking for your number, following up on the phone, texting you, maybe setting up a call, planning the date, maybe picking you up, or maybe you meet there, whatever, paying for the date, planning the date, moving things forward physically from there. He probably asked, most men have to go for the first kiss. Most men have to move things forward physically. That's, if it even happens on the first date, then he has to do all the planning and all rinse and repeat. Second date, third date, fourth date, fifth date. All these sort of initial steps are all sort of initiative burdens that fall on men that women don't really think about, because I think women, generally speaking, not to say, by the way, when I say these things, I'm speaking in generalities. Sure, there's that one guy a girl shot her shot with, your boyfriend, you asked him out. I'm speaking in generalities. I'm speaking 95, 97% of the time, the guy makes the first move. The guy asks you out. The guy asks for your number. The guy goes for the first kiss. The guy moves things forward physically. Not all the time. I know there's exceptions, but I'm speaking as a general principle the majority of the time. So there's this massive massive burden there that falls on man, but then you have the financial burden too. But again, I'm just wondering, like, if we can say men should, do X, Y, Z, men should pay for first dates, men should be providers, men should be protectors, what are we allowed to say that women should do?
Yeah.
What duties do women have?
So me and my
It's nothing. You have nothing.
Me and my last relationship, where I was in this age gap relationship, our first date was, we met out at a bar, but we dated for like 6 months, and I helped him move into his apartment when he first found an apartment.
How long
the first,
had you guys been dating?
Just a few weeks, to be honest. I helped.
Well, I don't know if that falls under the. You helped him. That's like a good thing to do, I think, across the board. But I'm looking specifically what women should do, that like a traditional gender role that would really only fall onto, like, what are the expectations on women?
100%. And the relationship I was in was very, he was a big, strong man. He used to be in the military. I definitely bowed down to him. I let him lead. I wanted to do that. And I also wanted to be as helpful as I could, because as soon as I bowed down to him, anything that I could do to make him happy made me happy to be able to do for him. So at a certain point, he was a superintendent for construction sites. So he was making about $200,000 a year. He was living in a downtown area. He would take me out on dates. At one point, he kind of fell financially not so great, so we stopped going on as many dates. I was fine with that. I would do his meal prepping for him every single week, because when he would do it, he wouldn't put any flavor in the food, and I was like, no, my man deserves a tasty meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I would do that for him, and I would still go to work and come home and give him massages and do the things that he enjoyed with him, I really enjoyed being able to do that for him, and I think that balance ended up being really nice, because he was chivalrous. I did feel protected when I was with him. Once we weren't together anymore, I missed the level of protection that I felt like I had within that relationship, and I missed the level of submission I was able to give to him. It made me feel comfortable. It made me feel happy.
So
You had something?
I feel like it definitely takes a specific kind of man to like have a woman submit to. Like you can't just be you can't just be like, oh,
he was that
not
man for
protective, not secure, like the woman's always feeling insecure or like whatever, the man's not this powerful leader or whatever.
Gosh,
you're not going to want to lead, you're not going to want to
Well, you shouldn't be
follow
dating
behind
him.
them.
You shouldn't be in a relationship with that guy in the first place, though.
Sometimes though it's like you don't really know a person until you get to know them.
I mean, he had
got those
Christian
blinders
values
on.
right off the bat, and he would, speak on religion. He would preach as if he was trying to be a leader
Wait,
consistently.
were you doing adult stuff at this time?
No, he did encourage me to do OnlyFans because I had started doing social media for about a year at that time. But
Wait, he was a Christian man who encouraged you to do OnlyFans?
He also had a coke addiction and was an alcoholic.
Okay, now there's
But
a bunch
he-
of stuff.
okay, that kind
But
of
like I said, he was in the military. He was 6 feet tall. He was built. He had built this life for himself. And I did not like doing coke, but I submitted to
Okay.
my man and I allowed him to be who he was.
Hasty George donated $200.04. Many modern women influenced by feminism do not deserve chivalry from men. This doesn't mean they deserve to be harmed in any way, but they have to earn it instead of demanding it.
Yo, Pasty George, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Good to see you, man. Appreciate it. Many modern women do not deserve chivalry. Yeah, it doesn't mean like if you're a feminist or modern woman that you should be like abused. Absolutely not. You should still be treated kindly and respectfully. But if you start demanding traditional treatment from men, you ought to be a traditional